Why do some families see gains in autism, like amazing gains, and others don't? What is the deciding factor? Today's video is going to bring you through a little bit of really, hopefully, good inspiration on change. And also, I'll tell you a couple things. Number one, in the last 3 years, I have worked with hundreds of autism families, and I can tell you that it is not lack of access to information that separates the ones who succeed from the ones who stay stuck. Okay, the information is there. We are living in a world where you can literally look at evidence-based practices, and it even has to tell you if the evidence is has conflicting interests in it. Okay, so in this world, we have at our fingertips the knowledge that we need to make gains in autism. So what is it then? What is the one thing that when I see families come into our program, for example, we know that some families, they absolutely thrive, and then others, they just can't seem to move forward. They have the same information. They have the same support system. Why is it that some move quicker than others? Now, in our program, because our focus is heavily on implementation and understanding these things, we don't have a lot of families stay stuck. Actually, so long as families show up to the calls and communicate with us, which we always check in, this is a very rare occurrence. But with that has come a lot of trial and error and a lot of knowledge. So today, let's really dive into what is the foundational reason. And it's really simple. It's mindset. That is literally it. And that is the difference between silence and speech. And let me tell you why. So I want to be a little real with all of you. I'm pretty much a no fluff kind of person. We live in the age of information. You know, there's YouTube channels, there's books, blog posts, Instagram, if you have only 7 seconds worth of attention span, protocols, conferences, oh my gosh, like summits, like, oh my God, they just never end now. Right? And so we have dozens of experts on like why to tell you what to try next. And I am one of them. I am fully transparent. This is where I thrive. I love to educate. But knowledge without implementation is just noise, right? It literally can be the knowledge with implementation is on the other side of this implementation is success. Now, knowledge without implementation is overwhelm, okay? And I want to offer that if you are that mom, and I know this because I'm a thinker in the Myers-Briggs, so I do a lot of like research. I'm very, very research-based. When we get into that state where it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and you're like consuming all the knowledge, but you're not moving forward, I do want to offer you that is not the thing that's going to help your child move forward. Like that mindset of, I need to know more before I take action. I have an entire training on this called the BBB, the Building Brilliant Brains for Moms. And it is actually a mindset course. It is the first thing to challenge when you have a child with autism is, do I believe in myself? Do I believe in the process I've chosen? And do I believe that it can happen for me? And honestly, if you're using CBT and you're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're anything under an 8, you are not going to get there. And I think that is not to shame anyone at all. I think it's a great marker to use some CBT on ourselves and to ask ourselves these quality questions of, do I truly believe this? Or do I truly believe that it can work for, so-and-so down the street, but for me, I'm a unicorn. I'm a special case. My child is different. And they are all different, by the way, but like all children are different and all children on the spectrum are different. All neurotypical children are different. But at the end of the day, a cellular body full of cells and organs and brain organs is still going to benefit and need some of the most similar things. Your child is not necessarily an alien. And I'm saying that with the kindest heart, please believe me, because mindset is a huge undertaking when it comes to our belief system. And where our attention goes, our energy also flows. And that's where we put the bulk of our belief or the bulk of our actions. And so I want to challenge you that if you're thinking this way, if your thoughts are, I'm going to do this tomorrow, this isn't working, I feel like I just need to look at one more protocol, I need to buy one more supplement, But the truth of what's behind those thoughts usually has people taking very small action, feeling like it hasn't worked because they've tried it for 1 day or 2 days, or they've seen some deregulation and it's not going exactly the way that they planned. And so they go right back to the drawing board, right? So if this is you, I have the most amazing training. It is linked up below. It's called the BBBB course, or the BBB course. You're going to love it. It shares it in a way that our two personalities, a Diane and a Crystal. I was a Diane at the beginning myself. So if you can see yourself and you want to comment that you've done that course that was completely free and you love it and it's really gave you some insight, feel free to let me know in the comments. Okay, so now going back to I digressed a little bit there. But if no one is, so I want to offer that if no one is showing you how to take the knowledge, right? So this is where coaching is so powerful, and I want to offer it as a tool that I highly recommend most people go down that road. For myself and my business partner, I think that between the two of us, we've spent about $80,000 in coaching alone in the last 3 years, and her much more than that prior to me. So it's not about the money that I'm diving into this video, but it's more about the idea that if someone understands and has walked the path before you, doesn't have to be me, that it's really important that knowledge needs to be translated into a way for you to be able to implement it into your life. And I want to give you an example, like someone from Japan that is used to eating rice versus someone in the United States who is eating ketogenic. They're not going to have the same implementation style of a program, let's just say like ours, because that doesn't make sense for them. Their biology and their culture and their past epigenetics all have to be taken into consideration, and their habits and their behaviors, because behavior is such an interesting word, and it has so many different connotations in autism versus in healthcare. I'm going to be using the word habit in the space of behavior changes, like for medical, if there's medical professionals using or watching this video, you will, and you have any experience with autism, you know that the word behavior change in medical dialect means habit changes, but for families who are dealing with autism, behavior means their child is having behaviors. So we're gonna swap that. So every time I say behavior change, it just means, or I say habit, it just means behavior changes. So because I do know that we are starting to see more and more professionals come into this space, and I think that using language that everyone understands is very important. Okay, so if you're not able to translate this into your real life, and especially with whatever unique challenges you have, I want to offer that. So when we think about children on the spectrum, some of them are going to be sensory, some of them are going to be completely closed off, some of them are going to be high functioning. And so you need to translate it, or you need to build these habits into your real everyday life. Giving you a meal plan that is completely like no foods you've ever eaten is not obviously going to work, and it's not going to stick. So you'll blame yourself too, right? And so when we feel like like we are taking a course, or we're getting the knowledge from the internet, and someone is telling, or someone's writing a recipe on their Instagram feed, which I mean, I'm also just as guilty of saving a million recipes. It's not always going to be successful. And so it's not your fault. That's my goal with this video, is to tell you that it is not your fault. You actually don't need more information. You already have everything you need to get started. And you need a better system for making that information work for you. So that is where I want your mindset to move forward into this space. So for us, the missing link, mindset and personalized implementation, is usually where we see the difference between people thriving and failing. So the number one tool in your autism journey is not going to be a pile of paper and some supplements that you may have already gotten somewhere else. It's not going to be another stool test or oat test, or because you can have all the data in the world. You can know that your child has mold, but still not be able to overcome mold. And it's going to be, how do I implement the things that are going to change the game for my child? It is going to be deep in your mindset and how you're coached to take aligned action for you. So at Blue Life RX, we've not only built a lifestyle medicine based autism program that supports implementation, but it's based on your personality type. And yes, we even like the Myers-Briggs. It's the simplest way, and most people know what category they fall in. And if you don't, it's a free test you can take online, so it doesn't cost anything. And so we've built a program to help each learner type implement. And I want to offer that we've had, just for example, a feeler is not going to implement the same way as a thinker like myself. A doer is not going to implement the same way as a planner. And so we want to find ways that match our personality types. And like I was saying before, how a mom in Japan applies food chaining is going to work completely different on how a dad in Dubai builds a morning routine. So knowing these little variations in life and lifestyle and habits is important. And the mom in Texas feeding a family of 6, for example, isn't going to prep the same way as a mom in Mumbai managing pica and temple attendance. So having this, these are just thoughts to have and examples to explore. And that is why in the Blue Life Autism Program, we don't just use evidence-based practices. That's actually, we have a lot of information in the world, right? We actually focus on a people-based approach. And we built the Blue Life Autism Program. I built the Blue Life Autism Program on two non-negotiables. So number one is the evidence-based lifestyle medicine tool that focuses on gut restoration, brain nutrition, nutritional deficiencies, detox, and emotional regulation. And of course, supports for parents with parenting supports based on behaviors. And this is not habits, behaviors for children. And then number 2 is the coaching model structure that personalizes every step based on your mindset and your lifestyle. What's really unique about our program is that, and this is a little bit of what you want to be looking for if you're looking for a program, don't necessarily have to be mine, although we are so happy to have you in, is that you want them to have an implementation strategy based on a personalization system. And so for us, it looks like people come into our program and they actually get a one-to-one to build out like their first initial part of what they need with all 4 coaches. So we have our assessment specialist, we have myself, we have Jen, who is our parenting and pick eating expert, and then we have our nervous system support with Sangeeta. So having like access to so many people just right from the beginning, having access through the process at the beginning, especially at the beginning versus towards the end of the program where families are no longer needing that same hand-holding. It's the ability to offer extra hand-holding for those at the beginning and more interaction. So we don't just give you a plan. That isn't our goal. Our goal is we walk beside you, we coach you, and of course we course correct with you. I think that's the biggest thing, is to not shame parents that fall off the wagon. Ideally, this is where we breed perfection. I've had so many families come into our program from other programs that were very, very much so limited in timelines. And so when you're trying to build everything in 6 months for a child, especially in like biomedical or functional protocols, not that I'm judging, some of them are excellent. I work really well with so many functional physicians. They actually like us because we take a food first approach. One of the things that we do see is though when things are very limited in time is that families are very much so shamed for not being able to implement. And that is not the successful way of changing lifestyle, which is what the foundations of any practitioner has been taught to do. Whereas we take a different approach. We offer a lifetime access program so that we can help you build, or not even build, but reframe and rechange and mindset shift your lifestyle to the habits you want. And so that it matches your wants and needs and your life by design, not mine. And so I think that is something to think about when you're looking at things, is how am I going to find someone who has walked a path that's similar to mine and has experience, but also can help my child from that space of not rushing everything. And so that's why our families actually see I'd say close to a 90% success rate in moving their children from nonverbal to verbal. We have hundreds of kids that have gone verbal, which is so exciting. And I know that there are even just some who have gone nonverbal just from the content that I provide on YouTube and Instagram. So Yay for that. That is our goal. And we know that communication, better regulation, and expanded diets are our goal. And I want to share a couple testimonial phrases to just give you a quick couple pops of hope. My son said, "I love you" for the first time. This is something we see all the time in our program, especially on Mother's Day. I swear, I think that we just get gifts on Mother's Day, and so many of our children say their first words on Mother's Day. I don't know why. And then she finally played with her sister instead of hitting her. That's a big one. Siblings change, the dynamics, the relationships change. We had dinner without tears for the first time in years. This is about bringing the fun back, not force feeding our kids. When you start to bring the fun back, our children actually start to connect and engage more. He's sleeping through the night, and so am I. We went to the park and didn't have to chase him once. He played and went down the slide with another child. That's another one that we've seen on multiple occasions. And she's finally looking at me in my eyes. It's like I could see her soul. There are some people who have described autism, specifically regressive autism, to us, and that's literally their words. It's like, I watched my child melt away, and I watched the life leave their eyes. And so when you have this moment of reconnection, it changes everything. So these aren't miracles. I want to offer that. When we first got to where we were, because 10 years ago, understanding that profound autism could see any outcomes but the one that they were in, I was very much so told this was not possible. And I used to think of it as a miracle. And so I was so grateful all the time for my son. And then when I started to do this work and I transitioned from healthcare to helping other families, I truly see that although I believe in miracles 100%, that this is not a miracle, that this is very repeatable. And that if you want to look at it as a miracle, you can, but we see it for hundreds of families. All right, so if you've tried everything, this is what I want to offer you now. If you've tried everything and your gut still tells you there is more inside your child waiting to come out, then come and watch our 3 secrets to milestone gains that maintain, and you want to just grab that below. Otherwise, make sure that you share this with someone who may be struggling with profound autism, because the difference between being stuck and success isn't the knowledge, right? I hope that if anything, this video has helped you see that. It's how you think about the problem. It's who's guiding you through it. And so let's stop spinning our wheels. Let's start rising. Let's get your child's communication regulated and thriving. And we're here. So let's go, and make sure to click the links in the description.